45. Hearing this value, Director Chen was completely confused. From 1500 to 45? Isn't this amazing? Doris's family of 3 is more sensitive to this data. After all, as early as a few years ago, Doris's father had already suffered from uremia. This family of 3 has been treated for a long time. They are very clear about the numerical range of blood creatinine, and each different range represents what kind of state the kidney is in. They are even more clear. The relatively broad normal value of blood creatinine is between 40,130. So, when they heard the number 45, the family of 3 burst into tears with excitement. Doris remembered something and then asked Director Chen, "Hello Director Chen, I seem to remember the value of 45. For normal people, is it not more or less low?" What Doris said is wrong. The value of 45 is almost at the minimum, so it is actually a bit low for most normal people. Generally speaking, the blood creatinine index of adult men is mostly in the range of 70 to 80 to 100. Director Chen couldn't hide his excitement and said, "This is actually normal. Your father fell ill during this period, he lost weight very quickly, his body became very weak, and there was also a certain degree of malnutrition. In this case, blood creatinine will definitely be low. I guess your father will be able to maintain the best value of around 70 or 80 after a few days of recuperation." Doris suddenly relaxed a lot. She hurriedly asked, "Director Chen, is my father's current situation healed?" Director Chen nodded and said confidently, "Healed? It must be healed. This is simply amazing." Doris was so excited that she turned to look at Charlie, her eyes flushed. She has many words of gratitude to say, but it feels like a stalk on her lips. This is because, in her opinion, this kind of life-saving kindness is too great. If she always thanked him, she would appear to be very insincere, not even religious enough. Although Lethina knew that her husband should have recovered, she hadn't been fully corroborated before. Now the blood creatinine results have come out, completely dispelling all the doubts in her heart, and she couldn't help but burst into tears. Immediately, she looked at Charlie, and suddenly knelt in front of Charlie, and said gratefully, "Mr. Wade, thank you. I really appreciate you, I don't have words to express my gratitude." Seeing this, Charlie hurriedly stepped forward to help her up, and said, "Oh, Auntie, what are you doing? Get up." Lethina choked up at this moment. "I feel that your kindness is too heavy for our family, and I really don't know how to thank you." Speaking of this, Lethina sighed, "Mr. Wade, I am not a fool. The medicine you gave us has such a magical effect. If it is sold to those top rich people, it will be priceless, not to mention tens of millions. It is hundreds of millions, and it is very worthwhile for those rich people whose lives are hanging by a thread." Although Lethina is not a university professor, yet, she is also an age-seasoned intellectual. The advantage of an intellectual is that although she may not really understand medical matters, she has more accurate knowledge and judgment on many things than ordinary people. Doris stepped forward to help her mother, crying, and said, "Mom, don't worry, Charlie saved my father, and I will repay him as a cow and a horse." Lethina nodded lightly and choked up. "Mr. Wade, you will be our great benefactor from now on." Mr. Simon on the hospital bed couldn't help but flushed his eyes and said seriously, "Mr. Wade, you saved this old life. If you have any use of Uncle in the future, please never ever hesitate. My heart and soul will not hesitate. I owe my life to you." Charlie smiled helplessly, shook his head lightly, and said seriously, "Uncle and Aunt are serious. Doris is my friend. It's just friends helping each other. Doris usually doesn't help me less. It's kind of repaying for her favor." When Doris heard this, she was deeply moved. She knew what Charlie meant, and she definitely felt that she didn't bother to help him take care of the Emgrand group. However, she was very clear in her heart, "It is my job to take care of the Emgrand group, and it is my job. I have taken the young master's salary and have to serve the Emgrand group. This is justified, so it's not that I helped the young master at all. Furthermore, the young master doubled my salary just after he took over the Emgrand group. I work hard for him. Isn't it right? Just when she was ashamed, Director Chen, who was always talking on the side, plucked up the courage to ask, "You little brother, can I ask you a question?" Charlie nodded and said, "Director Chen, please." Director Chen hurriedly asked, "I want to dare to ask, what kind of medicine did you give, Professor?" Of course, if there are any secrets involved and cannot be said, I understand it 100%. Charlie smiled slightly. It's not a secret. It's just that I asked for this medicine from the genius Dr. Tianqi. It is said that the genius Dr. Tianqi is not the creator of this magic medicine. His old forefathers accidentally got a small amount of ancient stock. The medicinal secret passed down by the doctors was originally very small. I happened to be lucky to find a small part of it. When Director Chen heard this, he suddenly realized that he patted his thigh and said with emotion, "I remember. The last time he was in our hospital, there was a patient with high paraplegia. Just because he took the magical medicine brought by Tianqi, he instantly recovered. It is said that the medicine used for the ancient gods at that time was the ancient traditional medicine whose prescriptions were lost. I never thought that this medicine is so magical that it could not only cure high paraplegia but also cure the irreversible acute renal failure in the eyes of modern medicine." Having said this, he couldn't help but feel sorry for a while and said in a rather melancholy manner, "Our ancestors left so many magical things, but it's a pity that we don't even have the ability to store them well. If this magic medicine, if it can be rediscovered and reproduced, it is really the gospel to the people of the world." Charlie nodded and smiled, without speaking any more. Director Chen checked the time and said, "Oh, it's almost 11 o'clock. I have to go to other wards for rounds first, so I won't bother too much." Doris hurriedly sent Director Chen out. After she came back in, Charlie also said, "Uncle, Aunt, Doris, it's really late, I have to go back first." Leathina hurriedly said, "Oh, Mr. Wade, why so anxious? Let's sit a little longer." Doris on the side was afraid that her mother would show too much enthusiasm for Charlie, so she hurriedly said, "Mom, this is a hospital ward, not home. How can anyone stay in the ward for so long?" After speaking, she hurriedly said, "Furthermore, Dad is completely healed now. Let's go home quickly. The hospital feels too depressing for me during this period. I don't want to stay here for a minute." When Leathina heard this, she had to say to Charlie with some regret, "Mr. Wade, I will not keep you today. Tomorrow I will cook a big meal at home. Thank you very much, you must come."